Hello, my name is Charlie Harris, and this is another video to train on how to use your brand new WordPress site. As I said before, I'm using the Lorix 1 theme. I found it on One Page Love. Both of them are very good websites. Lorix 1 is available through Theme Isle for free. So it's a good theme. I haven't really customized it too much. This is an effort to kind of just show what this theme has available and how it's geared towards this specific client, the Beta Theta Pi fraternity at Westminster College. So this is to talk about how to actually customize your Lorix 1, how to customize all these really sweet homepage headers and sections, and how to customize even, clicked on the wrong link there, the latest news as your blog home. So different parts of your website that it has. So one thing about this theme that's similar to other themes like it is there's this customize feature here if your theme supports it. Customize is WordPress's way of kind of letting you have a preview and customization panel for working with your theme and doing some really cool theme options here. These are usually very advanced options on a theme, so I wanted to go through in a video of how to use them. With Lorix 1, there's quite a lot. If you pick two different pages, like I've shown before, to be one to be your front page and one to be your blog page, which you can tell by going to the pages list and seeing, yes, this is the front page, and yes, this is the post page. Then you get to maximize the customizations of this theme. The way to know how to do that is going all the way down to the bottom here where it says static front page. This should be visible on any brand new site that's using the Lorix 1. If you click on static front page, you get to see two specific options. Which one the front page displays. If it's a static page, then you select which of those static pages is your front page from the list of available pages on your site. Or you can select your latest posts. I don't recommend it. It's just your post home page, and that's it doesn't do much. So I'm just going to stick with the static page, and I'm going to keep it the front page. And then you select, if you have a static page, then you have to select which of the pages is going to be your post page, basically your blog homepage. So I made a page called Latest News, and I just made sure that that was set to be the post page. With those, then so long as you're editing either of those two pages, there's a whole bunch of custom options that appear. The first option here is called Appearance. Now under Appearance, there are things that are global to your whole site about this theme. Some general options include what your website's logo is. So I don't have a logo really selected for right now, so let me just go into selecting one. I'm going to upload a file. Let's see if I can find one real quick. If I click Select Files, I go to Pictures. We're just going to use this really handy little logo here. It's really cool. It's kind of ONS with an arrow, something that a friend of mine made. So if I add that, then it shows up as the logo on the website right there. This is great when you have a logo that also is a picture that includes text on your website. In this instance, this logo is just an image, and because I don't have very good branding on the site, I don't feel confident that that's a good logo to have right there at the top. I'm going to remove it. So there's no logo on the site, but it pulls in both the site title and the site description, which is actually what I kind of prefer. So it's up to you whether you have a logo here or not. This is where you edit. This little checkbox here, header visibility, if this box is checked, the header will toggle on the front page. So with that, as I, what does this do? On the front page? What does that mean? The header will toggle on front page. I'm not terribly sure what that does, so we're just going to skip that option for now. A lot of these options may not apply to you, so that's okay if you can't use them. You can select different kinds of colors here, and this is just going to change only two types of colors throughout your site. The text color is going to be this color right here. I highly don't recommend doing this, but if you, for whatever reason, wanted to change it to be blue, it could be blue. But I'm just going to go back to the default color. And notice here too, the defaults are really, really smart. They're not strictly black, they're not completely black. And I highly recommend sticking with what your WYSIWYG or your theme says is the default color, because pure black is not that great to use on most of your websites. The same goes with your title color. As you can see, Lorix1 was really smart in not picking true black, which is 000000 on your site. But if you perchance wanted to change the color, you could. That's an ugly green. Hopefully you consult a designer before you change any of these colors, but this is where you can do that too. And finally, there's this background image that's available. If I were to go onto individual pages, say like the About Us page, I believe that this would change the background image. We'll just use this really patriotic picture of an eagle, and like it says, it's going to change the background. There's some really cool options that you have with this, whether it's if the image is too big for the website, like how it's positioned, whether it repeats or tiles. This is a very large image, so you can't actually tell if it's tiling or not. And whether it's scroll attachment fixed or scroll. That's a very advanced option, and it doesn't actually work on mobile, so I don't recommend it. And I also just don't recommend having a background image throughout your whole site, unless you had somebody custom theming it. So these were mostly kind of showing more options that you want to avoid than anything. So if I go back to home, then I see a lot of the custom sections out there. So let's get into some stuff that's actually quite useful, instead of showing things that I say don't do, because they're ugly. This first section is called the header section. That pertains to everything that you see up here, between this simple, reliable, and awesome area and also the kind of header menu. So this is only pertaining to the front page of the website. You can customize the header logo. That's going to change. I'm not sure what that changed. Let's try selecting our helpful little image here. Yeah, so it didn't do anything actually on here. Oh, that's right. I've actually removed that from the theme. Something was broken about it, so that doesn't work for you actually. So it doesn't show up in here. But this is where you go and you edit things like this text here. So we'll just say our fraternity. It's actually really hard to spell on while you're doing a live screen recording. Our fraternity is awesome. That's awesome. That's a great thing to be able to see. And instead of this random Latin stuff, we're going to say, here is our website describing just how awesome our fraternity is at Westminster College. Yes. And then finally, there's this button here, which is a really helpful kind of action button to take people immediately to a really prominent part of your website. This one is going to take you straight to the About Us if people are really interested in learning more about it. The About Us is going to link to the page, the About Us page. In order to tell it where it's going to link, you have to know what is called the permalink of that page is going to be in order to get it there. Notice too, there's this backslash in front of it. This is very important for website URLs. If you don't have this link here, then what it's going to do is it's going to add About Us to whatever the current URL on the page is. So that's not too bad, because when you go to the home page and you're right here, it's just going to add About Us to the end of Westmo Beta, and it's also automatically going to add a slash, because otherwise it would be kind of silly. But say you were on another page and you didn't do that, it would probably say you were already on About Us and you clicked on a link like that, it would do about us / about us. So always be mindful to add the / there in the link, and that's just important. And finally, you can just change the label. Learn more is probably something that you could also put in here if you wanted to customize that. If I save and publish, it's saved. If I go back to the home page, it changes the text to learn more. So that's kind of cool. And like I said, you can click on it and it'll take me to the About Us page. Woohoo! Okay, so that's the content of your header. Then there's the logos bar. Logos bar is actually not being used on this site. This would be very helpful if you were actually a new product branding site and you had a bunch of companies who gave you a lot of money and you wanted to thank them and show like, well, who are the cool people that are either using or contributing to your awesome product. But don't worry about the logos bar. The very top header is what they mean by this very top bar with the social media icons. There's only two things that go in here. There was a contact phone number that was offered by this website. Again, I hid it. It was kind of weird and ugly. But then there's these social media icons that are here. Now these are great. You can actually customize all three of these. You don't have to use Facebook, Twitter, and Google specifically. But what they're pulling in is Font Awesome. Font Awesome is a great website. Let me actually pull it up. That has really cool icons that everybody uses throughout the web, and is a great library that's easy to pull in. So this theme is pulling them in, and down here at the very bottom of all these awesome icons is these brand icons. So if you are if you have social media links to things like LinkedIn, you can simply say FA LinkedIn on your theme by scrolling through all these right here, and sure enough, LinkedIn is right there. You can use LinkedIn Square. The theme will reload, and there it is, right there at the top. So if you add a link right here, and again, if you want to do something to LinkedIn, you'll have to add http://www.linkedin.com. And then like the path to say your profile. It's easier to go to your profile and then come up here to the URL bar and copy and paste it right into this link site. And then be sure to test it out, make sure that the link actually works. But these are great to customize any of your social media icons there at the very top of the bar. So very handy thing to remember there. Finally, there's blog header, and you don't see it right here. But if I went over to the latest news page, like right now, there's this background image right here, and then there's a title, and then there's even a subtitle. So just for our purposes, let's just say blog reel. So that's changing the title there. Awesome posts. It's actually not pulling in the subtitle. Maybe that's a bug. And then I could change the image. So I'm going to change the image again to a really patriotic eagle, just because I love America. And that's cool. It has like this bluish effect that it puts onto the image. That's kind of neat. Gives a really cool effect. I'm going to change this back to latest news because the word blog reels kind of bugs me. And then finally you can change. Let's go back to the home page. This thing called the background in the header. This is really the coolest part about this theme is that it comes out with what's called parallax. So as my mouse moves across this space, the image is also slightly moving with two different images layered on top of each other. So if you love this effect and you want to be able to make use of it, you got to plan this out in kind of a smart way. So I'm not going to pull up two images myself, but I'm going to describe what the default images that this theme comes shipped with are doing. So it picks one picture as, oops, I didn't want to do that, as a default setting. And as you can see, it's got a sky background and then a single tower running down the middle. And so it's got a full color background. None of this picture is transparent, and that's key to know. Your first layer shouldn't have any transparent part to it, or else the background color of the whole website is going to show up, and that might not be the desired effect. Then for the second layer, the key here is that it may be a picture that dominates the whole foreground, and that's kind of cool. There's a very artistic purpose to the way they did this photo. But that white space in the middle, that's all transparent, and that's important. If you had a white background for this image, it will layer on top of the tower image, and it wouldn't actually show up. So long as the second layer has some transparent parts to it, there's this really cool parallax effect that you get out of this main content. If that's too complicated, don't worry. You can just uncheck the parallax effect, and it'll revert to some static images. There's the current header that's available, and then there's suggested ones that you can even randomize if you wanted. Actually, it actually doesn't randomize anything for you. That's probably a bug, but you can also just like add a new image and pull that in. It also gives suggested dimensions for the image so that it looks good on the website. And so definitely follow those dimensions because bad pictures on a website can easily make it look even worse for your users. So that's it with the header section. I know that's a lot, but stick with me. There's a couple more really quick hits here that we could do. There's the About section. That's this first section that appears just below the header. This is great to have a really simple thing to say about your website with a really cool picture. So instead of this stock image, obviously you're a fraternity, there are no girls in there, no girls allowed. So you probably don't want to keep this image here much longer, but you could change this to a picture of your fraternity kind of grouped together, or like a really cool shot at some kind of event that you guys put on for yourselves, and just kind of describe like a few things, maybe your mission statement, or like a great description about the fraternity, anything you want really. But this is some static content that stays on your site that doesn't get updated unless you come in here and edit it yourself. So make sure it's something that you want everybody to see whenever they come to the website and want to hear about who you are. Then there's this kind of similar looking section that's all kind of standalone on itself. I decided to purpose this section, it's called the ribbon section, for how you recommend a beta. I know that was a feature that you guys wanted to have and kind of wanted to give it prime of place. This may not be what you want specifically, and if you don't, you can find a different purpose for this. But similar to the header section with its button, you have a button here with a label and a link. And this link is the relative pathing to get you to the recommend a beta form on your website. And you can change the button text here, and you can even change the title text for it. And what's also really cool is you can change the ribbon background. And notice what's really cool is the background is fixed on desktop screens. So when you scroll, that image is actually not scrolling with you. It kind of stays still. It's a really cool effect. So if you change the image, make sure it's a great image that kind of scrolls with everything. I'll take this time right now to actually recommend where you can find other great images like these, because maybe you guys aren't all photography majors and you don't take too many great photos on your own. You just want to find places to find great free stock photos. Well, I highly recommend Pexels.com. So as you can see right here up at the top, P-E-X-E-L-S. It's great for free stock photos. There's quite a lot of different things here. You could probably find some popular searches that will help you get exactly what you want. Here's even a cute mouse. It has nothing to do with your fraternity, but I'm sure if you put it on there, like maybe people will really like it. So that's the ribbon section. These are all really like kind of just like really flashy things about a theme that kind of make a really big impact on your users. So definitely make the best use of them by carefully selecting some images that make a really good effect and make your website look good. Finally, there's a latest news section. All you can edit here for the home page is like the title of it. If you don't like latest news, you can change it right there. Then there's a contact section at the bottom. It's these three images. So similar to the social media icons up at the top, you can change what these are doing. You can change the text, you can change the icon from Font Awesome, and you can change the link to it. I wanted to call out especially this one. This is how you write a URL for a mail link. So if you want to have people click on this and it pulls open their default mailing program, say like Outlook or Apple Mail, you click on that and so you can see my Microsoft Outlook is bouncing and it's going to pull it up and it'll automatically open a new window where I start writing an email to the web address, to the email address that was listed in this link. So going back here, whatever you have, mail to, colon, and then the email address after that, it'll automatically create, ooh, I got a new email message. I want that to actually go away. Whatever the email address is after the mail to, colon, that's what the new email window will open up as. The next one is just a map marker. You can say like, where's the address of your house, or maybe even pick something else. There's all these different icons to choose from, and if you don't know what any of these are, you once again can go to fontawesome.io/icons and check out what the icons are and maybe even link to them from there. And then add a specific URL to that. Same with this Twitter one. That's really helpful to use. So that's all for the contact section. There's a contact page. That's a specific page on your site that's actually not being used, so you don't need to use this as well. And then finally, there's the footer options. That's the same with these social media icons. You probably want to keep these in sync with the very top bar where there's some more of them. So if you edit the social media icons up in the header section in the very top header, then you also want to make the same changes down in your footer options here. You can add in a copyright, but I actually hid it on your website because that was there for the original theme users. Sorry, theme users, but I hide that so that there's no branding but your own on a website. Finally, there's these advanced options. This is where you can change the global site title and the tagline. This isn't the only place that you can change it, but this is just another helpful way WordPress helps you localize all your changes in one place. The site icon is used as the little icon that's up in your browser. It's called a favicon. Sometimes will show up in the URL bar, and sometimes will show up in the tab of the web page that you're open on. For Chrome, they have this default document icon, so it's not very helpful. And so you can probably create a new one if you have a graphic artist in your fraternity, and you would upload it here. You just have to make sure that it's at least 512 pixels wide and tall. They size it down, obviously, to a very small point, but you don't want to have too many pixels showing, and the browsers have a way of rendering it differently. So that's all. There's a couple other ones, but they're not important for dealing with your theme. And so this is just a really long video kind of showing all the different possibilities with managing your theme. Other things like colors here and there, they're not customizable directly through your website, but there's a lot of other things like these pictures that are really great and easy for you guys to customize. So that's helpful. Whenever you're done with your changes, make sure you press save and publish, otherwise they won't show up on the website. But for now, I'm just going to leave this page. So thanks for watching. There's a couple other training videos that I'd like you guys to see. So stick around.